What's up? What's up?
Not much. I was just I had this thought that I was going to my little Spaces wallet add a little like graph of the Bitcoin price chart and also Tether Gold. So I'm supporting Tether Gold, Bitcoin, USDT, and USAT at the moment. And but I wanted to make like a chart so I could like show the graph of your holdings over time, denominated by Bitcoin or not uh, denominated by gold. And the pricing service that they have built in didn't have the gold, so I'm like, I gotta find another source. So
I tried to
I
log
was,
into my wallet. It's still not connected. Is that I'll have to download a new update?
yeah, I think the problem is that I had uh, the version I had put up there was pointing to my other server, and so I'll I was playing with it yesterday after we got off the phone a bit, and I was
Okay.
able to get it working. So yeah, we'll 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 deal with that.
All
So
right.
I was looking
So
on
uh,
Telegram this morning. I didn't see any news.
no,
Nothing
nothing,
new.
nothing yet. Next week, perhaps.
I'm hoping this other project, Start Nine, they've been like
Yeah.
promising a beta, the next version, for like almost 2 years. Every week, it's like, oh, maybe next week. We're so close. Oh yeah, we found a couple more things.
We'll
It's like,
we'll start nine. They're are they big? I don't know if they're big into it, but they're somewhat into the whole knots thing, the bit 110.
yeah, they kind of got Matt kind of got opinionated with that a little bit. He's the head guy over there, and that whole discussion, it seems like, has died down a bit.
Well, I don't know
So
about that. Bit 110. People going
I don't
wild with that.
I, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm like off of it or
I don't
something.
know. I don't know. I haven't read into it too much, but I know there's a lot of hysteria about it. People are going crazy over it.
Yeah, well, it's like I don't think you can. I don't know. In my opinion, like the ledger information, that's data. That's like information. Like it's like I don't know how you can be so strict and say like zero other information on the blockchain. It's like kind of crazy. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Even the knots is allowing the old limit of like 80 bytes.
Well, that's what I was saying, right? It's 83 bytes or something on knots.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Spaces works. So Spaces protocol
yeah.
works with knots. It's just
And even
you can configure it to zero, but by default, I think it was 42, 80, something like that.
yeah, I think it was 83 or something like you're saying. So
So what's the
anyway,
bit 110? Have you even read into it much?
uh I haven't read into it. I've kind of heard other people describing it, and it seems like it adds this whole like somebody has to decide what's inappropriate.
Really?
Which is like, okay, who's going to be that? And yeah,
Is
that's just,
that
I think,
the is that the one where they were talking about 1,000 satoshis and the UTXO is frozen of some sort, or you just can't spend it exact? I don't know exactly, but
yeah, I
is
don't
that
know
bit
what,
110?
yeah, maybe I'm getting my bips. I think it was 440 was originally the thing, and then they changed the number of it. I don't know.
Yeah, it
I,
was like
I, we kind of hashed that through a bit in our Bitcoin meetups.
so. Start
All right.
nine. He's on the fence with spaces. He likes it. He doesn't like it. Where do you think that falls?
I think I think he likes knots.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely
He
they
likes
are
knots.
supporting both.
Right.
like, and the ability to switch between them.
Yeah.
So,
Which is cool. Which is cool, right?
and giving people the options. I think it's like, let the people decide,
Yeah, that's cool. I
you
like
know?
that. I don't like that core. They remove the option, let the people decide, let the nodes decide. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, right? In this
Yeah.
decentralized area. And I'm recording, by the way, so
Oh, you are?
yeah.
Okay. So I I was fiddling with the my OBS, and I think I got like a little bit of it. Here, let me show you. I don't know if I can do this. I'm just trying to show you what I'm doing.
Yeah, you
I
should be able
figured
to
we
share your
would.
screen.
I figured we'd spend the first part of it just for a little bit here, kind of just getting our bearings and like figuring out what we can how this is going to be done.
Yeah, and I mean, I like doing it
So
live. This is the best for me. I think just
yeah,
natural.
also it's natural. It's like, if you have to say ums and ums and stuff, that's fine. I think to try to like be super professional and like,
Yeah.
roll an intro and then crossfade into it and I mean, you almost need like a production assistant to like kind of do that stuff.
Well, that comes in
All
time.
right.
You know what I mean? Like we could
Yeah.
eventually advance to that if we want to, but for now, just go with the flow and
Right.
let's just talk about it. We'll get these videos out there. We'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about Spaces protocol. We'll talk about the importance of Spaces, Bitcoin, decentralized, self-custody, self-sovereignty, all the things that I think are important. I think you think as well, but we could even disagree. We could talk about the
Sure.
news. We could talk about all types of stuff.
Sure. Sure. And I was thinking this morning, I mentioned last time, like kind of a little bit of just introduce ourselves a little bit, talk a little bit of a
Sure.
background, just to give people some context where we're coming from, and without getting too much into it, but stuff that's pertinent to this. Like I was thinking, back when I was a network administrator and I had to set up DNS systems, like, it used to be you had to do all this yourself. You just didn't go to GoDaddy and create an A record.
Right.
You actually had to set up a DNS server, but without getting too long in it. But I think it's kind of important to kind of give people a sense of like just how much experience
Go
we
for it.
have and
Yeah.
what our part is. The other part was just I think touching on some of the motivations for Spaces protocol. And I'm thinking of it without getting into it. So I'm thinking kind of like we would introduce ourselves, kind of. I don't know if we have a name for this thing yet. I threw a few things to you yesterday, but I kind of like, I don't even know if that's even important.
I'm just going to put it up on Curious Bitcoin.
Yeah,
for now.
That's fine.
But then we could also get a Rumble
we could
channel.
always make a channel and then like move everything over later. That's yeah. But the other thing was it's like maybe mention things like, in the past, I was thinking, well, do we get into like the history of the INNA and like how numbers and names are issued and the controversy, and Obama kind of gave over that control to an international organization back during his administration. Probably not important for today, but anyway, it's like I think setting up a little bit of what was the motivation, and also then this isn't the first attempt at this, that there was Bitcoin naming. There was Bitcoin names, and then there was Handbrake, and there was stuff on the Ethereum
Handshake.
side.
Was it
Handshake? Yeah, Handshake or Handbrake. I can't know.
I think it was Handshake.
But then I was thinking, well, maybe we don't need to get into all that. But then on the other hand, I was also thinking we should probably try to keep these things. I was thinking to about 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's cool. I blocked out an hour, so up to an hour, 30, 45 an hour, whatever.
Right. So you can see my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Can you get me on there? I see the square.
Yeah, I know it's black.
How do I get in there?
I think you're in there. It's just that it's it's not letting me. It's blocking you out when I have you on here.
All right, we'll work.
If I put
through
it
that.
over.
All right,
Oh,
you're
wait,
putting all
maybe
this
it's
on the
not.
screen, though. You're putting all this on the video, so you're letting all this out to the world.
Oh, I know what it is. I think when I'm in sharing mode, then the window that you appear in doesn't show up. So let me just quick do this. I just want to test also some audio levels to make sure that
just a
we're
heads
kind
up.
of
All this screen is going on the video. So if you don't want anyone to see this, your chats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm good.
Okay.
All right. This is like something, my dialogue with Mike here. So we'll put it on this for the moment. So yeah, let's
all right. So why don't you tell everybody
I'm
a little
gonna
bit
stop
about
sharing.
yourself?
Let me a second. Before we do that, I'm going to roll a little bit of recording on my end just to make sure I can capture us. Okay. So I have two kind of views, one with just both of us, one next to the other, and then another one with us kind of to the right with my screen to the left so that I can show whatever I'm showing on my screen. And then I can if I'm showing the wallet, I can bring that up on the screen as well. And then
that'll be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And but let's see. Go ahead and say something.
Yo.
Okay, yeah, you're showing up on my Mac OS audio. Oh wait, I don't think I even have that on. Now I do. All right. I'm going to record just a little bit here.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, now you're echoing.
For later viewing. I'm echoing now?
Okay. Yeah, I have to mute it on my side, so that's what it is.
Man, it is freezing in here. Ooh.
Yeah, what is it? My temp in here is 54.
It's 13 degrees outside where I am.
Yeah, I bet.
Did you get any snow?
No, but we're supposed to get it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
All right. So I did a little bit of recording. So let me
show
recordings. All right. Show recordings. Damn it. Where are we? Hang on. Oh, I have to do this
This is cool though. We could just show this screen here. Us too. This is good.
Hang on.
Everyone wants to know about you. Everyone wants to know about Andrew.
Okay, it says it remuxed. Okay, now I can close show recordings. Where's my dang recordings? Oh, here we are. Yeah, I'm missing your audio. Dang it.
Oh, dang. You know what? I didn't even know. Am I missing your audio? Let me hear you say something.
Hello.
Yeah, no, it's picking it up on my screen. So what I have it as desktop. So you're just my desktop audio, anything that comes through the computer.
Yeah. All right. So
just hit record. Start recording. Stream it.
To what? All right.
Twitter.
Because when I unmute you, I get feedback. I get an echo of your voice.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's what I'm saying. Just tell the people about Andrew Lundy, law attorney. Lundy Law. That's Lundy Law. Are you related to those guys?
No.
That's your dad? Your uncle?
No, nobody. All right. I'm gonna have to play with this later. We'll go with your recording for today. So you're getting my screen?
Yeah, I'm getting your screen. I'm just recording this screen here. And when you share your screen, I can see it. I hear your audio. Now I haven't played it back, so I don't know if it's really going to work. But we'll see when I upload it.
You want to stop and play it back because I don't want to.
Nah. I like doing it live. We're good. We're good.
All right. All right. I'm just going to roll with it then.
Yeah, just roll with it. It's fun. This is how we learn. You know what I mean?
Yep. All
Don't write
right.
down your seed words. Memorize them.
That's right. All right. So I'm not sharing right now. It's just you and me, right?
Yep, it's just you and I, baby. So yeah, whatever's on the Zoom screen, that's what everyone sees.
Okay.
So don't share anything that you don't want anyone to see.
Got it. Got it. All right.
And I got to remember that too.
So yeah, I had just I had taken a little snapshot of the Spaces protocol screened as a background, so that when we're side by side, you could see Spaces protocol above and then the URL below. But it's because I didn't have anything else to use as a backdrop. We'll figure this out.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
anyway, so we can start. So so my name's Andrew Lundy, and I'm a developer, live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been doing this for my whole life. I consider myself one of the #1 fans for Spaces Protocol. I got into this a few years ago, well, a couple of years ago, when I saw an article about Spaces Protocol and Mike Carson, the founder of the team and the project. And I had been kind of looking for a similar sort of project on Bitcoin as something called unstoppable domains on the Ethereum side. I had looked into that a couple of years ago and had gotten an unstoppable domain, had set up the some IPFS file storage to point to like a little web page. It all worked, but it just seemed clumsy. It seemed like that you had to put in plugins just to get it to resolve. And I'm like, well, how many people are gonna latch onto this approach to doing it? Although I liked where they were coming from it, and I kind of really wanted something like this on Bitcoin. And when I saw the Spaces protocol come up, I said, well, maybe this is it. So I looked into it further and kind of really got enamored with the whole thing, and have been working on stuff around it since then. So just a brief bit of history. Came out of Georgia Tech, undergrad computer science back in '89, and ran with a consultancy or I was an employee for a little startup that did trade show stuff, and then we did interactive video disc stuff and training stuff and trade show support. And as I grew within the company, I took on more and more network roles and responsibilities, and ended up doing things like setting up our LANs. And then as the company grew, I became more of a network administrator. I was setting up the routers and new connectivity and hosting, and DNS was part of that. So back in the day, I used to have to, there was no GoDaddy. You had to register your domain. You had to figure out where to register your domain. Each country had a different thing. If you wanted a .com, you went one place. If you wanted a .edu, you had to go somewhere else. So it was a bit of a pain. And then once you got it registered, then there was nothing that they're like, give us the IP of the main DNS server that you've got set up. So you had to go set up a DNS server, set up a backup DNS server just in case. And then, it's like you were it. Like if your server was down or your internet connection was down, it was down, baby. Things got a lot easier. Services like GoDaddy became prevalent, so that they would help you register and maintain your registration. And then they started putting things like the ability to define records through a nice web interface. So people totally forgot how much of a pain in the butt it was. But one thing to remember, and the reason I bring this up is just to kind of enforce this, while people rely on DNS all the time, it is still centralized but heavily distributed. So and delegated, right? So, people think, oh, well, it's decentralized. But no, that's not right. It's not decentralized. It's just distributed. which means that it's resilient. If parts of things go down, then other parts kind of cover for it. But, and you can say, well, at the root level, there's like 12 different root servers or something, and that it's still, so it's got to be resilient. Well, yes, resilient, but still centralized. And there was one story a few years ago where there was a revolt in the district of Catalonia in Spain, and they've been talking about seceding, off and on for various decades. So this is not a new idea, but they have their own domain at the top level called .cat, and they were threatening to secede, and the Spanish government didn't like this. And one of the things they did was they went to the ISPs and they said, we're turning off everything .cat. So like if you ran a business, if you had any websites that were .cat, they were just turned off. So the fact that they can do this, even though they don't do it that often, but that they can is, cause for alarm. And, I think that's one of the first sort of cases for how Spaces protocol could effectively replace that dependency and at least, get us away from that centralized control in terms of names. So names to other metadata, one of the metadatas being like an IP address mapping. So anyway, after I ran my own consultancy for like 14 years, did a lot of network administration stuff, but got back into application development. But this always been kind of something in the back of my mind that this was a bit of a vulnerability. So in Spaces protocol kind of like said, well, this could be the final answer where it's like you're getting a name and it cannot be taken away from you. And we'll get into like, what that means in the context of Spaces protocol later. But I'll throw it to you, Jason. Talk a little bit about what's going on with you.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so my name's Jason, and I'm basically a total noob. I don't know much technical things, even though I do work in technology. I don't know how to code. I'm just a regular dude that found Bitcoin. I was looking to make money, and I didn't care about money pretty much early in my younger years, but then like mid 30s, I was like, dude, I need money. I need money to live. I know that's pretty late, but need money to live. So I started looking into things like Amazon FBA, creating products, trying to figure something out. Then I stumbled upon Bitcoin and instantly fell in love. It made total sense. Actually, I heard about Bitcoin first and I just ignored it. I figured, I can barely pay my bills in the real world. Why would I play with this internet money, this fake money? Dismissed it, didn't even look into it. Then I heard about it again, looked into it, fell in love with it, and just been stacking Bitcoin. And I heard about Spaces on Robin Sayers' podcast. So Mike went on Robin Sayers' podcast, started talking about Spaces protocol. And I had been messing around with ordinals. They have like .btc, .sat, DID, whatever they call them, the ordinals. And there was like Bitcoin names. There was another one too, Bitcoin domains. There was a few. So there's been an attempt. And it just made a ton of sense. It's always made sense to me, because it's DNS, it's IP address, domain names. We're not going to use these long string of characters. We never do that. Throughout history, we don't use long strings of characters. We simplify things for humans. And DNS is a perfect example of that. Although it's centralized, like you said, people think for some reason it's decentralized, but it's not. It's centralized. They can shut down .coms if they wanted to. .cat, it's already been done. It's all through ICANN and whatever other agencies, VeriSign, whoever else is out there that has the control. They have the control. So I saw the Robin Sayer podcast and I was like, yeah, this is it, dude, because I seen a couple Bitcoin names, Bitcoin domains, whatever they were, ordinals. They didn't make sense because all those ones, they came out and you could just register a zillion names, boom, one transaction. However it works, I don't know, but everybody just jumped on the names, squatted on the names, basically killed the whole ecosystem. Spaces Protocol, you
Right.
can't do that. Only 10 names come out at a time, or a day. 10 names come out a day. You can't squat on them. So,
Yep.
and I had been looking to set up a node too. I was like, man, I really got to set up a Bitcoin node. So I've been in Bitcoin for a few years, didn't have a node. And I saw that Spaces required a node. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So I built a computer, installed Linux, installed Spaces, figured it out. Took me many nights to try to figure it out. Typing, searching, Rust, Cargo.
Yeah.
There's other ones. I don't remember, but yeah. So Ubuntu, I installed. Bitcoin node, I installed. The node was actually super easy. Spaces was a little difficult. The instructions weren't that clear, but I got it going through a sudo command in Linux. And it just makes sense to me. Nobody controls these names except for you. You control the names. And just having your Bitcoin wallet addresses with a name, easy. Same thing with the Nostr npubs. Xpubs for Bitcoin, the npubs for Nostr. We're not going to be using this stuff. And it's already popular on Nostr. You see that people are using icandns.io.com with these relays, these names, these primal.net. All that stuff is centralized, can all get shut down. It's easy, it's convenient, I guess, but one of the goals I think a Spaces Protocol buffer said was to prove that it could be practical. This solution could be practical, the naming solution, while also being sovereign. So that's a big task, and it's just super exciting to be here. And no one cares, really. Not many people care, but that's okay, because once they start seeing it being used, then I suspect most people will care.
Yeah, right. And just a couple things from what you were saying. So I've built servers, I've run servers my whole life. So for me, it wasn't that big a deal. And because I've been developing with Bitcoin and Lightning and Nostr for the last 3-4 years, I've got 4 machines set up. So it's like, oh, which one should I use? But I saw the need. I'm like, if this is going to really take off, we got to make it easier. And I actually had packaged up for Start9 distribution and for Umbrella distribution a package that was like a one-click install. Since these two sort of home server operating systems or distributions, whatever you want to call them, are make running your own server a lot easier. I wanted to make Spaces a lot easier as well, and we're touching on some things that we'll get into in more detail in other episodes. But just kind of generally give folks some idea. I'm involved with the Start9 group as well, and have known them for a couple of years, and have already packaged most of this stuff up, but I want to make it more full-fledged before I release it to the public. And I'm also waiting on Start9 to kind of get to their next release, because their next release will allow your home server to be more visible on the broader internet, which is important for this. And the fact that those sorts of servers make setting up the Bitcoin part of it just one click as well. It's just a natural fit. So just wanted to mention that. The other thing that you touched on is the Nostr usage. There is a lot of synergy here. While these two projects aren't they're not dependent on each other, there's, I think, a lot of synergy. And one of it is the style of transactions and how you sign things is compatible with Nostr. And what you mentioned in terms of how people use little signatures, there's something called Nostr Improvement Protocol that people call them NIPs. They're suggestions for improving things. There's one called NIP05, which is effectively that. It's like you give yourself a name, and then there's a little mechanism for verifying that, okay, your per se public key matches this name, so we're going to more authenticated. And I think what Spaces protocol brings to that sort of mechanism is a much more robust, definable thing. I mean, in the age of like people getting impersonation accounts set up where they start scamming off your user base because people are confused. They think, oh, that they're talking to you and they're talking to some person that's like scraping all your content, hard work content, and republishing it, or bots. Another thing that we're seeing more and more is more AI bots that are just coming in and like impersonating real people. So maybe this is another good usage of Spaces protocol, which is to make it harder to like go through the process of getting a legitimate name. So we'll talk more about kind of the mechanisms of that. I thought maybe we might also like just touch on some of the URLs and the resources so that people are interested from watching just this episode, whatever we're calling these, then maybe they would know where to go to kind of if we piqued their interest. I'll go ahead and share my screen briefly there.
Yep,
then.
Go ahead. I think we're at the stage now. A lot of the feedback I hear is DNS works. Why do I need Spaces? Kind of reminds me of my bank account works. Why do I need Bitcoin? So
yes,
it's super exciting, right? To be at the front of this. I wasn't super early to Bitcoin, but it's like, dude, super early. It's like when Bitcoin was $1, no one cared. It's what it seems like now with Spaces, where people are like, who cares about a permissionless name? It's like, okay, pretty valuable.
I mean, sometimes I'll talk about it about Spaces, and I'll start with, well, it solves a problem that doesn't exist yet. And I found myself kind of like backing off that statement because, for one, I don't want to just say, hey, well, there's not any value here, because I really feel there is. And it's kind of the same justification of why does Nostr exist? Well, a lot of people got kicked off centralized social media platforms and said, screw this. We're not going to let a single entity control my following, my community, and destroy it, arbitrarily without any recourse of what's going on. So Nostr kind of was born out of that need to further decentralize the ability to communicate with other people. And I think Spaces can really supplement and enhance that. But yeah, I'm showing on my screen, if you can see it. This is just the main website. So if you're interested in this, you're going to want to go to spacesprotocol.org, and you'll see this page. It's just kind of gives us a little bit of the mission statement. Empowers users with sovereign Bitcoin identity anchored on the Bitcoin blockchain. And I think that anchored on Bitcoin is a pretty powerful statement. I know Julian Assange stated in some years ago that while he was still kind of on house arrest or kind of in asylum, it's like, Bitcoin is the first mechanism where you can record something in perpetuity and no one can ever erase it, right?
That's valuable.
We could look back through history, and books can be burned, books can be rewritten, web pages can be, erased. Even the Internet Archive has been attacked, and it seemed like it might go offline at some point. But what's forever? And forever in our digital world is the Bitcoin blockchain, is the most energy bound, hash rate supported system. We can't, is it completely immune to nation state attacks? Maybe, but and it's the best thing we got.
And what's the counter argument to that? People are going to say, well, then, people are going to say people put junk on it, right? That's kind of the big counter with the Knots crew. Like, hey, people are going to put a bunch of junk. But with Spaces, it only uses 62 bytes, I think, for a top level and 40 bytes for a subspace. And you could have thousands of subspaces with the 40 bytes. So
that
it's a minimal on-chain footprint.
No, it is, and that was by design. If you go into the docs, and I'll just click on here to the docs. If you want to get into a little more about the methodology and start reading the docs, now the docs get pretty technical, but if you kind of read the first part of it, you start getting a general sense. So this is talking a little bit about how the names are formed. There's a top level name, and then what we call subnames. So Alice here is the subname, and how this thing can map to other things.
And just look at that. And just let's scroll back up to that. Just look at that. I mean, if you see this, you see these NPubs, your BC1P, your Bitcoin addresses, to think that that's not going to be human readable, converted, right? That just makes a ton of sense. It's a huge missing piece, I think, in Bitcoin adoption, is having it easier to use for normal people. As easy as sending a text message or an email. You can send a Bitcoin transaction. You don't have to copy and paste. You can send it alice@bitcoin, and you don't have to jeopardize your self-custody, self-sovereign. You don't have to put a man in the middle. You can verify all this on Bitcoin with minimal on-chain footprint. So I really like the design of this protocol. So
yeah, and again, there's a lot to digest here. We don't want to get into too much, but there's a whole everything to the right of the @ sign is done on chain, including the whole auction process and how things get registered and recognized as the legal and valid authority. Everything to the left of the @ sign is managed through zero knowledge proofs and proof sets and a certificate. So and how that works is complicated. And we'll get into more of that at a later time, but just kind of give everybody a sense of it. You get into this section, just reading through these kind of points, and I'm not going to touch on all of these, but it gives you a sense of kind of what the motivation was, a little bit of comparison versus Ethereum name service, which was another one that came. And then you can start getting into it further, deep dive understanding how the protocol works. So this section gets into the whole auction process, and then how transactions that handle that are constructed. So there's detail here. I'll go back quick. Again, my point here isn't to delve into every little detail, but these are instructions for setting it up on your own. Again, Jason went through all this in painstaking detail, and the way it works is that it takes a Bitcoin node and it builds an indexer. So it actually crawls through all the transactions on the Bitcoin node, looking for particularly formed transactions.
Now, question on that.
Yeah.
Does the Spaces protocol pick up other transactions that might have an op return in them?
So it's going to see them because it's crawling through every single transaction in every single block. But if it doesn't recognize them as pertinent to Spaces, then it's going to ignore them.
Okay, so then there's some sort of specific format that the Spaces embeds in the Bitcoin transaction or in the block? Okay.
Right. Again, like an opening bid or a bid for a name or a counter bid, all are recognizable transactions. And so you can, because all of the auction phase is handled as on-chain transactions, then you could go and look at the whole history. In fact, we'll look at the Explorer, which is a web interface to this that makes it a little more understandable. But there's a command line tool for kind of interfacing with it. Again, this is probably a lot more than what people want to get into, but this is where I was trying to build a Start9 and an Umbral package that would be like a one-click install. So you wouldn't have to go through all of these steps, etc.
I actually went and installed Umbral, and it's pretty easy. So I bought another computer, installed it, set up another Bitcoin node just to have fun, to learn, tinker with it, set up Umbral. And it's pretty easy with Umbral. They have these apps. It's like an app store. You can just download stuff.
Yeah.
So if Spaces could be put in there, that would be super easy.
Which is what I did.
Yeah, that would be super easy.
I just only did the Space Daemon, the indexer part of it, and the command line. I didn't get. There's now more parts of it that I want to make available in the package, And we can talk about what that means. So I'm going to go back to just the regular Spaces protocol page. And at the top here, you can look at the white paper. It's also a good description of the motivation and background and how things work. Again, I'll just skim through this a little bit, but you can see here some of the topics, auction design and how transactions get finalized, and then subspaces. Again, this is the stuff to the left of the @ sign. How is that handled with different off-chain and on-chain sort of things? And I mentioned the accumulator, which is the indexer, and also how this works. Yeah,
handshake
exactly.
is mentioned in the body.
Yeah.
So handshake,
yeah, exactly.
this is not something new with the naming on Bitcoin. Even BIP 353 is Matt Carola's attempt to introduce naming on Bitcoin. But unfortunately for that BIP, it relies on centralized DNS. And, I do find that shocking, though, that the Bitcoin community, or it seems, they're cool with DNS. And they're like, yeah, let's use DNS, maybe because they don't see another way, maybe because Spaces is not well known. It's not even fully out yet with the subs. But that's one of the reasons why we're making this, because look, there's another way. We don't have to use DNS. If it's Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin and that's it.
Right. And I don't want to misrepresent it. I mean, it's not going to be something that is immediately useful everywhere all at once. There will have to be certain tools and techniques built up to kind of make it more and more accessible to a broader public. One of which is be like a mechanism like DNS, like maybe hooked into the DNS resolution system that resolves these names to identifiers. And I've been working on some of that. We can talk about that at another time. It's too much to get into right now. But I did want to get a sense and just let people see kind of how this looks a little bit from a web view. There's this website called the Explorer. So if you go to the Explorer, you can see what's going on at this time. So there's some stats up here about how much activity there's been. There's been, to this time, 35 spaces that have been registered, and the number of events, rollouts, or new names coming into the auction process. Again, we'll get into that another time. But you might be curious about this thing. What's this thing, Jason?
Total burned. So that's another huge positive for this protocol, where nobody's getting rich off of this. This is being a donation back to the network, as Satoshi would say. The coins are burned, and they're burned in a way that's respectable to Bitcoin. It doesn't create UTXOs and bloat the UTXO set. It burns them in op return. So nobody's getting rich here. This is just a self-sovereign way to add naming to Bitcoin without a middleman or a king at the top getting rich.
Right. We talk about how different projects have, companies and startups and founders. Like, I mean, even Ethereum, has Vitalik Buterin as kind of still the head honcho that's kind of calling the shots over there. Most of those Ethereum projects had initial coin allocations to the founders and the founding team. So, you come in, you're pumping their bags, and Bitcoin itself, has no issuer. The protocol itself regulated how things were issued, and there's no company, there's no committee, there's no thing to go after. And while this project had a founding team, still does, none of the founders, there's no secret wallet that accumulates this funds that they're going to be able to spend later. It's provably burnable. And, the founding team, which, we'll probably get a chance to talk to them, maybe bring them on and chat with them a little bit.
Yep.
They're doing this kind of, out of, real love for the project. And, yes, I mean, I can't really talk to their motivations and any compensation, but I know that they've been very excited to get this going. Let me just kind of scroll down here a little bit. So in auction, these are top level names that are in auction at this point. You can see Vendetta, at Vendetta is waiting to be claimed. So whoever bid this up and is interested in getting this needs to go through the registration process. Pokemon also.
Pokemon.
What are these things? These like XN, that's weird.
Poonie codes. So they're
So we can see here,
emojis. You can even have an
like
emoji as your Bitcoin wallet address or your Nostr NPub.
This one looks like a little teddy bear. So you could be like at teddy bear face. So Flint, James, I guess all you Jameses out there, you might be interested in James. Events, these are the activity that's happened lately. And so, yeah, let's
and like you were saying about the foundation, Ethereum and Vitalik and all these things, that's probably one of the reasons why Space is taking so long, because it doesn't have anyone. It's just us, and we're like, we're gonna do this. Yep. A couple of guys that are just passionate about the project because it makes a ton of sense to advance Bitcoin. We're the ones that are coming out and doing this. So grassroots, we're not paid. We're just doing this on our own time. There is no foundation. There is no marketing, even though I would love there to be some sort of marketing. And Mike has gone out and done podcasts, and that's how I found it. But we need more.
Exactly.
We need more people. So that's why we're doing this.
That's right. So if we look at past auctions, so these are names that are already taken, that they've been registered, and at some point there was a bit of a bidding war for them. Bitcoin is the highest cost of all the top level namespaces, and it went for 0.1 BTC. So that, what's that today? That's about $8,000.
10 million Satoshis, yeah.
Yeah. So in today's prices, that's about $8,000. So that's, most of them, that's kind of the high watermark. But at AI, I mean, AI is pretty hot right now.
It's a pretty good one.
At ID, I should say. You can see a lot of one-letter names. I guess somebody's thinking that these just having at E or at T or something is going to be very useful. Art.
So I missed a lot of these because I didn't come in right when it started. So it had already been out for a couple months, I think it was. So I missed Bitcoin. And I remember, too, I was trying to set it up and the auctions were going, and it was a couple I wanted. I was like, oh, I'm going to miss them.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get it set up in time.
Well, as we record this, things are pretty quiet. If I look at upcoming options, there's none available, which means that for as little as about 80 cents, you can start a new name into the process. There's some tools to make that easier. There's a wallet application called Akron. Go to akron.io.
Yep, and all this is in Bitcoin. You have to use Bitcoin.
Right, you can download this wallet and get a name started into the auction process. If you look in this spaces section of it, they've got various different download options, and you download, install this, you start it syncing. There's a public server that you can sync to, and then once it's done, send it a little Bitcoin, and then you're off to the races. Again, we won't get into this today, but just to let people know if they're interested into pursuing further. This is the easiest way to go. Now, this didn't exist when you were trying to get set up, so you didn't have the benefit of just installing it and running, being off to the races. So.
Yeah, that would have been nice. So the Akron wallet is nice, and I did download it. I played with it. I hooked up the public server where it connects to a public Bitcoin node, but I also tried and successfully connected it to my own node. So it's cool that it gives you features. Like if you're a complete beginner, you can just connect it. You don't have to run a Bitcoin node,
That's right. That's right. So anyway, I don't know what else. Is there anything else that we want to kind of touch on just today, get people started?
Maybe the marketplace.
Talk a little bit about. Oh, right. Let's do that. Let's look at that. Hang on. So for those names that have already existed, you can see here there's a link at the top called Marketplace. And so these are people that have gone through the auction process, registered these top level names, and now they're offering for resale, right? So these folks figured that these things were valuable, and as a result, they think there's already effectively a resale market that's been established, and the protocol supports a special transaction that allows you to put it up for resale. But let's see,
Yeah.
we
So
can go
these are
price high to
the
low.
ones you don't have to wait for the bidding. You could just buy these ones outright.
That's right.
And it's some
So
pretty.
you want at Nakamoto? It'll only cost you a mere 21 Bitcoin.
I was going to say, pretty expensive names up here. People are going
Yeah.
wild with these things.
Well, because things haven't, the auction phase on mainnet has been available for about a little over a year now.
Yeah.
And so there has been activity and people kind of speculating with what might be interesting. I mean, at social might be a pretty interesting, or at health. I mean, you can imagine, Humana at health,
They
Blue
seem like
Cross
good
Blue
ones.
Shield at health. You can imagine somebody being interested in some of these politics. Red state at politics,
Yeah.
blue state at politics, something like that.
Like categories,
So,
like total
right.
categories. Maybe like a
And,
Reddit subreddit or something. These
yeah, and
could turn into that.
exactly. And think of these as like also being, these are kind of an anchor around a community. If you wanted to build a community that had a certain, identifiable name to it that, existed across all domains, all mechanisms, maybe this would be a good way to do it. BMW. So for one BTC, you can get at BMW, at IA. I don't know what. Let's go a couple more pages. So let's see.
At IA, all right.
Yeah, I
At
guess that's different
AI,
than AI.
IA, intelligence
um,
artificial.
yeah. So Ripple. Okay. Let's just say, I mean, obviously Ripple's its own thing, but here you can still create a name at Ripple. Maybe there's like a advocate community around the Ripple token, and you want to kind of use at Ripple as that anchor to that.
Let's look at some of the cheaper ones.
All right, so we'll go low to high here. So you can get at Christmas.
There we go. That's a lot cheaper. What's that?
Yeah,
25,000.
it's like I think, does that mean it's about
250,000.
200 bucks maybe or so at today's price? Is that about right? Maybe. So okay, at Hippo. So yeah, maybe if you go in the Explorer and you type one in that you really want and you say it's taken, then I would say the next thing to do is to check the market, see if it exists there. Maybe someone has it up for sale. Now, once a name gets registered, we have no idea who did it, right? So unless they, of their own, initiative, put it on the market, we can never know who exactly owns it unless somebody mentions that they are the owner. Like it can't be known who they are because the transactions are all through Bitcoin wallets. So there's no mapping back to a person. Now, if you looked at those transactions that went to that registered that wallet and did some chain analysis, you might find that coins that came through that thing went back to, say, an account on Coinbase. And then, okay, we know this came from Coinbase and we know it came out on this, output. And, we could then subpoena Coinbase for their user list and maybe figure out who you are. But that's a lot of effort and usually requires some sort of, judge's order in the US, that is. Obviously, this is global. But that's a lot of effort to figure out who owns something.
Yeah.
But,
this is Bitcoin only. It's strengthening the Bitcoin ecosystem. You transact in Bitcoin, you live in Bitcoin.
That's right. And so, if you really want to maintain your anonymity, then use non-KYC Bitcoin to fund your wallet, to do your auctioning, to do your registration, and you will have the best possible situation. Or you might even throw in a blinded transaction somewhere in the middle just to be super safe. We're not going to
What's that?
advocate any potential mechanisms, but it's there are ways to increase your privacy.
What's a
Even on
blinded transaction?
a blinded transaction is a type of transaction where kind of both sides don't know the other side. There's kind of a middle mapping that can't be unwound. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a whole nother
Well, that's
topic.
going to have to be a topic because I'm interested in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So maybe we'll talk about that. That's a Bitcoin thing. But yeah, I mean, take your own possession of your coins. If you can, try to acquire them in a non-KYC manner. There's ways to do that. Google around for that, and or if you can find somebody who's got Bitcoin and you can meet them in person, like we have where I live, a Bitcoin meetup every Wednesday. Uh, if you just give somebody some cash and they send you some Bitcoin, like nobody has to know
Now, what if
who
those
that is.
coins? What if those coins are KYC'd?
Then it goes through the seller. So yeah, I mean, that's like a whole nother topic to get
Yeah.
into, like how you do that. But there are ways to make it a little bit better, and the laws are changing. We're still the Market Structure Act here in the U.S. is still pending, so we're still not sure what exactly the rules are going to be for all the aspects of this, but it's getting better. So anyway, yeah, so that's probably a good place to stop it. Is there anything else, Jason, you want to
No, I think
talk
that's
about?
good for timing. Good intro. We're up 57 minutes.
Yeah,
So that was good. Spaces
probably.
protocol, Bitcoin, self custody. It just makes Bitcoin easier to use. So we'll just keep making these videos. Guess we'll come up with topics each week. Maybe we'll do like once a week. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, we'll try to do that. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure holidays and stuff sometimes happen, and
Yeah. Yeah.
life happens, but we can give. I think it's good. I mean, as we sit here today, there's certain things that haven't quite made it to the mainnet launch yet. So we're
Yep.
we're
Yep.
looking real. Hopefully, next time we talk, we'll be able to like talk about more. But the Telegram channel, right? So
Oh
if you're
yeah.
interested, also here, there's an icon up here to get on the Telegram, and if you want to join the Telegram channel, you can. And also the other thing was that if you're interested in how the code works, then the GitHub repo is a good place to start looking at what's going on with
Yep.
that. You can
GitHub.
look at the
And one of the things too,
repositories.
I want to
Yeah.
we're kind of like straddling the line. Like, are we shilling this product? So I kind of want to figure out how that works. If you believe in something, you want to push it. Is that shilling? Were people shilling Bitcoin back in the day? So that's like a topic too. I kind of want to think about, talk about, but it just
Yeah.
came to my mind because you're sitting here promoting this thing. People are going to be like, "Oh, they're scammers. They're trying to push this thing." So how do we
Trying to
balance that?
pump our own bags. I
Yeah,
think I think because I mean, as we go forward, all of this is open source. You can take and download it, look at the code, you can change it. Obviously, it's a protocol. So the protocol itself, the participants all have to agree to participate with the rules of the protocol. Otherwise, you're off doing your own thing, which might be fine too. Maybe people see this and they say, well, this is a great project. It'd be the great basis for something else
yeah.
that has its own properties, its own rules or whatever. I'm going to take this as a starting point and go do other things. You're welcome to do that. That's what open source is all about. Now, I will put a caveat on it. It's like as this thing grows, there'll probably be services, paid services that occur where where money is being made. I mean, one of the reasons that these top level names are deemed to be valuable is because people hope to sell the subnames under the top level names. In fact, we'll go to one. There's two projects that we know of. One's called @bitcoin.com.
Yep.
So if you're interested in a top level name and then @Bitcoin, then you can go to this website @bitcoin.com and you can see if it's available for one. And then also you can reserve that name such that when the subnames go mainnet, then you will get that legitimate name. Now you have to pay a little fee to kind of reserve your name. And then
and that is centralized, right? So someone is making money off of that.
Somebody's making money off that. It's the I don't know what the
it's $25.
I think 25. But do you know the didn't Evan with ID?
IDsubspace.com, I think it is.
I shouldn't have doxed him right there, but sorry.
Yeah. Well, he wants to promote it. This is free promotion. Yeah.
So @ID. If you want your subspace name of @ID, then check this website out, idsubspace.com.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, and see. Oh, I'm not.
You're not sharing. No, we're just listening to you.
Okay, sorry. I stopped sharing. I forgot. I'll just share quickly so people know what it looks like. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll go back to the other one. So this was the subspace ID, and this one looks like.
So these are centralized. So you can buy a subspace Andrew @ID. @ID is the top level, and then anything before that is the subspace, unlimited subspaces. So it's like a .com, .net, .org, and then this one @bitcoin.com. It's @Bitcoin. So you can have your name @Bitcoin, anything @Bitcoin.
Right, and you're not going to get Andrew @Bitcoin for some strange reason.
Now these are they centralized? I know someone's making money off of people that buy these ones, these two.
Yeah.
But when you get your subspace, is that centralized? Because I know you can take it on chain and have it sovereign, decentralized. But is it when it remains a sub? Right? Yeah, you are reliant on the operator, right?
So to an extent, yes. So the person that manages that top level name @Bitcoin in this case is what we call the operator, and they're the one that controls the creation of everything to the left side of that.
Yep.
What will happen is that you will go through a process. Either they'll issue it to you, you buy it. Depends on what their intention is. Maybe it's a community, and that's part of being part of the community. You just get one for free. You could do it that way if you wanted to. But in this case, they're charging for the name, and then what happens is that your name gets put in what's called a proof set, and then zero knowledge proof is derived from that, and then the hash of that is put on the blockchain. So it's embedded on the blockchain that your name exists in part of the proof. And you're given a certificate as a result of that. That's kind of your proof of ownership. And once you have that certificate, you don't need the operator anymore. And that certificate will prove that your name is valid. So you're independent. You can do whatever you want at that point. Now, there is one other step, and you alluded to it, which is to take that subname on chain. And it's probably too much to get into what that means today, but just let people know that's the ultimate expression of sovereignty, is to take your subname back on chain. At that point, the operator, the person who manages this @Bitcoin or whatever the top level name is, no longer has any influence over your name at all.
Can't take it back, nothing.
Yeah. For instance, if you lost your certificate, as an example, you could go back to the the operator and say, hey, can I get another copy of my certificate? And they'd probably be fine with it. But still, yeah, once you go on chain, they no longer have any control, and you're the master of your own destiny at that point. So a lot more to talk about in that respect. And yeah, so yeah.
And that
Good
makes
stuff.
me think about like a website like an X, a Twitter, a Facebook, where you log in and you get Andrew at Facebook, Andrew at X, and it's a Bitcoin wallet address. And you're not beholden to that website. You could take it on Bitcoin and have self custody of it. So this really makes me think of some sort of Noster social media site, how this pairs so well with it, like a primal.net. Let's say you sign up for your name on Noster and you get Andrew at Primal, and it's no DNS involved, nothing. It's simply on Bitcoin, verifiable, self-custody. It's a Bitcoin wallet address. It's a Lightning address. It's a Noster NPub. It's a domain even.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, all this has to be built out. We're at the beginning. We need clients. We need browsers that recognize this. We need wallets that recognize this. We need Noster clients. There's tons of work to do, but there's a great opportunity here.
That's right. That's right. So, I've been working on parts of this. Other parts of the founding team have been working on some of this, and a lot of the heavily enthusiastic folks have been kind of batting around various things. So yeah, it's, early days. Yeah, it's been around. The auction process has been mainnet for about a year, but it's still very early in terms of adoption. So, I'm very excited. I think this has a lot of legs, and we'll see where we go from here.
Definitely. All right, so I'm going to end this video, and then let's just hang for like a second.
All right, great.
Is that cool? All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks.